extravaganza is underway. You're watching ESPN's Feast Week presented by Lowe's. Welcome to the Phil Knight Legacy Tournament. They're the two buildings Kevin referenced. We are in Veterans Memorial Coliseum on the left, Moda Center on the right. We start with 8th-ranked Duke taking on Oregon State. Jon Scheyer, the first-year head coach of the Blue Devils, is in the building, as is his high-powered team. The favorite in this bracket, but it's loaded on the bottom side as well. Florida Xavier next here, and then Purdue, West Virginia, and Gonzaga taking on Portland State. And welcome, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. We are privileged and so happy to have you with us here this week. Corey Alexander, Doug Sherman. And Corey, what are you most thankful for and looking forward to?
I'm thankful to be able to go from one side of the street to the other, to be able to watch a game live as a fan and then come over and actually work on Thanksgiving Day. Happy Thanksgiving to every one of you out there.
Absolutely. Okay, we're going to show you Kyle Filipowski, who has been magnificent to begin his college career for the Duke Blue Devils.
Well, Kyle Filipowski has done something no Duke Blue Devil has ever done before. 3 straight double-doubles in his first career games, averaging over 15.5 points per game, over 10 rebounds, but has the ability to put the basketball on the floor, make plays off the bounce, but also the ability to stretch the floor beyond the three-point arc with a great shooting touch. So Kyle Filipowski has gotten started off to a great career and a great start for the Duke Blue Devils.
And he is just one of many great pieces for the Blue Devils that we will get to see 3 times in the next 4 days here in Portland, Oregon. At the same time, the Beavers have had to reload the roster after really a lost season. Wayne Tinkle brought in players like Jordan Pope, who has gotten his college career off to a wonderful start.
And Wayne Tinkle wants to rebuild with youth. He doesn't want to go into the transfer portal and get a bunch of older guys. And he's starting off with doing a great job with their point guard, who's been very aggressive to start his college career, averaging 15.5 points per game. Jordan Pope has been special for the Beavers.
He is a 6'2 freshman from Oakley, California, out of Freedom High School. A lot on his plate as we are underway in the legacy bracket. Again, celebrating Nike founder Phil Knight, who is sitting just to our right courtside here at Veterans Memorial Coliseum.
Yeah, I was about to brag on the fact that, our side of the bracket, we got Phil Knight.
We do.
That's different. They didn't have that over there.
Well, again, 4 brackets, 2 men's, 2 women's, 3 arenas, including Chiles Center on the campus of the University of Portland. Beavers on the board first as we take a look at the Duke starting lineups. Jeremy Roach, the unquestioned leader of this young team. Proctor, Mitchell, Filipowski, and Derek Lively still working the rust off this season, Corey.
He is returning from injury, and right now we see the Beavers coming out in the zone defense. Duke practiced a lot on this yesterday, but it's always different when you see the opposing team do it.
Blue Devils 4-1 on the year. The Beavers are 3-1. Oregon State lost on Saturday to Portland State, committing 18 turnovers. Didn't shoot it very well. They'll need a much better effort here this afternoon. This is Jeremy Roach, the lone captain for Duke, finding Filipowski off the front rim on his first shot attempt of the day.
And that's going to be key for the Beavers in this game, is can they rebound? Duke, one of the better rebounding teams in the country, especially on the offensive end of the floor. So right now it's going to be important for the Beavers to take care of their defensive rebounding.
Just over a minute in. Pope off the mark. Filipowski sets the screen, gets the ball back. Another clean look, this time from the left wing, and again he's off the mark. Long rebound comes to Pope. He's got 2 men to beat, finds a trailer on the left wing. Dexter Akana. Inside he goes, but a traveling violation against Shoal Marial, the former Maryland Terrapin, who should play a big role today trying to combat the size of the Blue Devils.
Well, he's going to have to do a job defensively on the glass. That's one of the main reasons. Marial's back in the starting lineup. Did not start against Portland State, but Coach Tinkle getting him back into the starting lineup to try to take care of the defensive board.
Mitchell, the dynamic freshman from Kansas City, Kansas. Roach turns and shoots and gets the friendly roll. The Blue Devils on the board.
And that's going to be important for the Blue Devils. Jeremy Roach having that balance between scoring and distributing. And Jeremy Roach has been a scorer his entire life. but has to find that balance between when it's time for him to go and when it's time for him to distribute to his teammates.
And Corey, I thought a tremendous sign in his favor, according to Jon Scheyer, was in the Kansas game. He came out and was not nervous, while some of his younger teammates understandably had some nerves. As that third-year guy, as the captain, he set a wonderful tone.
He absolutely did, and you talk about setting a tone early, knocking down the 3. That's the second.
Dimitri Rivne has all 6 Oregon State points.
And that's something that Oregon State has not done well, is shoot the basketball from the perimeter. Only shooting 25.8% from 3.
Tyrese Proctor gets 3 back at the other end. Yeah, indeed, in the last time out for Oregon State, they made 2 threes the entire game. They've already got 2 here in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah, well, Proctor hasn't shot it well either, so maybe it's a good sign for both these guys to be playing here.
Yeah, Proctor only 5 of 22 on the young season now. 6-5, Oregon State with the basketball in a 1-point lead. Shot clock down to 6. Pope, tough shot. And he rattles it in. 3 made triples for Oregon State.
And we talked about Pope. He's going to be aggressive to start this game off. You know, anytime you get an opportunity to play on the national stage against Duke, you want to put on your best. And for the Beavers right now, their best has come from beyond the arc. Jordan Pope coming off a screen, and that is not in the playbook. For the record, that is not the shot that Wayne Tinkle drew up. However, it is good for Jordan Pope coming off, staying aggressive.
Well, his 15.5 points per game is the 9th highest scoring average nationally among true freshmen. Marial for 3, way off the mark. Was that in the playbook?
It was, because Wayne Tinkle walked away from it with his hand up as if he were the official holding the 3 up. So he is okay with Joe Marial taking that shot.
Well, he's only taken now 2 on the year, still looking to make 1. Tough entry pass saved by Ryan Young, who's come into the game for Duke. Drive and dish. Roach sets up Mitchell. He is denied. Duke will have it when we come back to Portland, Oregon. Duke's freshman class has 3 of the nation's top-ranked players coming in. Derek Lively, Dariq Whitehead, Kyle Filipowski. And the last time the Blue Devils had that sort of freshman class, it was 4 years ago. Pretty good class. R.J. Barrett, Zion Williamson, and Cam Reddish. But we bring in Brooke Weisbrod. We're not just talking about the kids, Brooke. They have a junior leader, rather, in Jeremy Roach.
They sure do. And you can imagine losing in the Final Four to your biggest rival can either break your spirit or it's going to fuel your fire. And for Jeremy Roach, he was ignited, and he embraced leadership as soon as the offseason started. And for him, that meant breaking through from letting his game speak for itself to now directing the huddles. But according to Duke's staff, Roach became way more vocal after hitting that big 3 to beat Michigan State in the NCAA tournament. Jon Scheyer told us this week, though, Jeremy can be too unselfish. Sometimes he passes up great shots for himself, and he says it's a feel thing. I don't want him to overthink it. I just want him to play instinctually. Now, Roach is going to have to balance patience and pace because, as you mentioned, Duke welcomes 7 freshmen. But a solo captain is rare, guys. Since Coach K took over the program in 1980, the Blue Devils have had just 1 captain 7 times.
No doubt, Brooke. He continues to lean into it, saying, this is my team for sure, and he has found his voice.
It really has, and he was also the one person that Jon Scheyer trusted to be able to come back with this group and be the leader. From that Final Four team ago, the most important guy to be able to come back would have been Jeremy Roach, simply because Jon Scheyer, as a former All-American point guard, needed a point guard to be able to run the show with all these young players and new players they have on the roster.
Foul off the ball. And Roach was a top 20 recruit coming out of Leesburg, Virginia 3 years ago. Preseason All-ACC first team this year. But it's always new. We get our first look as well at Dariq Whitehead, one of the aforementioned highly touted freshmen, also working off some injury rust. He was number 2 in last year's ESPN 100, and he's posting up now number 0 in blue.
Yeah, Dariq missed 11 weeks in the preseason, so it's going to take him a while to get back into playing shape. Basketball conditioning is different than just being in shape.
Offensive foul.
And that is exactly what Duke basketball is about. It's not always about protecting the rim by blocking shots. This is also a way to protect the rim. And this has been a great, not just good, a great defensive Duke basketball team this year. allowing only 53 points per game. And that's part of the reason why when you've got guys like Blakeney getting in there doing a great job, absorbing the contact and taking the charge.
Yeah, Corey, it's obvious. The man with the basketball right now, Jalen Blakes. When you watch Duke, he didn't get a lot of run last year, but now as a sophomore, his toughness just jumps off the screen at you. You see number 2 in blue. Beavers with a takeaway. Dexter Akano. And a foul on the rebound. And it'll go against Oregon State. And it goes against Shoal Marial.
But one of the areas where Duke is struggling early in this game is to put points on the board and give Wayne Tinkle and the Beavers a lot of credit. Mixing up defensively, you see now on a dead ball, moving into a full court pressure, and then dropping back into a zone, giving Duke enough to think about when they get on the side of half court.
Well, the first game of the Phil Knight Invitational bracket in the books. North Carolina, the #1 team in the country, got all it could handle from Portland, 89-81. This is our second game, the first on the legacy bracket. Duke pulls back to within a point.
And that's a first also. The first three-point field goal Dariq Whitehead has made on the season in his Duke basketball career. Came into the game 0 for 5 from beyond the three-point arc.
Great defense by Jacob Grandison to deny, and then the foul called. I believe it's going to go against Grandison, the grad transfer from Illinois.
And one thing that's always important, especially for young players, to be able to move without the basketball. You see Whitehead stepping into the middle of the zone, but then finding the open spot. No one there to account for Dariq Whitehead as he knocks down his first 3 in his Duke career.
How good can he be? 6'7", 220 freshman from Newark, New Jersey.
He can be great, and he's a very young player. That's one thing about Dariq. He's very young, but also he can be great defensively. And as an offensive player, of course, played at Montverde, one of the best high school basketball programs you could play for, was there for 5 years, developed under guys like R.J. Barrett. He saw so many great players come through his high school, also there with Cade Cunningham. So he learned a lot and got to be a better offensive player, but he learned to defend early, and that's where he really can make his mark.
Yeah, what a team. Scotty Barnes, Day'Ron Sharp, Caleb Houston. Really remarkable.
When you got to guard those guys in practice every day, and you're like 14 years old, you got to become a good defender.
There's Dariq a little short. He said that's when he realized as a 10th grader, you know what, if I can hang with my teammates in practice every day, I must be pretty good. Akano, one of the captains, in a little trouble, finds a teammate. Beavers keep possession with 15 to shoot, and then they give it away.
Blake's doing a great job defensively as well. That's one of the biggest differences in this Duke team. We mentioned they're top 10 nationally, only allowing 53.2 points per game. And now Jeremy Roach finding that balance, getting inside the painted area, but more importantly, finding a teammate for the easy one as Young gets the layup.
Reebney made a couple of early threes, now defended tightly by Filipowski. Akano creates space, then hits it off the front rim, and the foul goes against the Beavers and against Rodrigue Undella.
We talked about Jeremy Roach. Even though he's a junior, he is in a different role this season. He is the primary ball handler, and he's doing a great job early in this game, finding his time to distribute and get his teammates involved.
He's been dedicated to his sport for many, many years. He commuted 45 minutes each way each day from Leesburg, Virginia to Fairfax and back every day to attend St. Paul VI PVI.
And when you say 45 minutes, that's on Saturday with no traffic.
Roach gets a clean look, a little strong. Big rebound for Whitehead. He gets the ball back. And from the right corner, starting to heat up, number 0.
I think they just started something, Dougie Fresh.
You think so?
Yeah, Dariq likes playing here in Portland, was part of the Hoop Summit team here in Portland last spring.
Yeah, he played with Derek Lively and Kyle Filipowski in that event, the Nike Hoop Summit, and against his current teammate, Tyrese Proctor, who was with the World Team. Traveling violation against Jordan Pope.
Dariq Whitehead finding his shooting stroke here in Portland. An offensive rebound for the Blue Devils where they're great. Derek comes up with it, relocates, find the spot, 3-ball, corner pocket is good for 0 in Duke Blue.
Wayne Tinkle took this team 2 years ago all the way to the Elite Eight, the only time in over 3 decades, Corey, this program has been nationally ranked, and they're trying to build it back up after a 3-win season a year ago.
Well, Wayne Tinkle realized that he wasn't going to be able to build a team with any type of chemistry and camaraderie through the transfer portal, so he decided to go young. They only have 4 returners, and 3 of those who actually played minutes last year. Joe Mariel had to sit out last season, so it's a brand new team, 11 newcomers, 8 of those true freshmen. And right now, Wayne Tinkle likes his team. He likes what they're building in Corvallis right now.
Well, he is the 3rd winningest coach in program history, trailing a pair of Naismith Hall of Famers, Slats Gill and Ralph Miller. They're way ahead. But Coach Tinkle trying to rebuild what they have shown they can do. He's been to the NCAA tournament twice in his 9-year tenure. Whitehead tries for a 3rd three, can't do it. Oregon State with the basketball trailing for the first time this afternoon. We've got an elbow thrown and a Duke player on the deck. It's a personal foul against Tyler Bilodeau.
And Bilodeau, instead of using his feet to get open, uses his, we won't call it an elbow, we'll just say forearm.
Well, you know, his father and his grandfather both were NHL draft picks. He grew up playing hockey. I think he's ready to go in the corner and mix it up.
He does not have a problem with the game getting physical. And now he's going to have to be physical on the post, guarding a bigger Filipowski.
Filipowski with the spin and the pretty finger roll.
And that was finesse. It wasn't about being physical. That was simply finesse. Filipowski, who's missed his first couple from beyond 3-point arc, takes it inside.
7 feet 230 with quick feet like that. Glenn Taylor is yet to get involved in the offensive end, trying to get him the ball there. Knocked out of bounds as once again Jalen Blakes goes flying.
But you see Blakes has the mentality. You know, and all successful Duke teams have had a guy that they can throw the ball into the post and go through. This year's team is going to be Kyle Filipowski. He's a guy that can play with his back to the basket. We showed his shooting touch and his ability to play off the dribble. But when times get tough, you can throw the basketball down inside for him to go get a bucket.
Well, the first Duke freshman ever to begin his college career with 3 consecutive double-doubles. Plays with an edge, averaging 15.6 points, 10.4 rebounds.
Tell you what, Blakes is a difference maker right now. He is putting a lot of pressure on anyone handling the basketball for the Beavers.
Coach Shire says he's flat out a pain in the rear end to play against.
I can see that. But he's one of those guys you want to have on your team.
Whitehead going to dribble up. He says to Roach, come on. He goes the other side. And the 3-ball misses by Blakes. And again, number 35, Glenn Taylor, the leading scorer for Oregon State, yet to get scoring. One and done. Missed from the corner by Jaden Stevens. Oregon State has now missed its last 5 from the floor. Whitehead. Another 3-ball. No. Fight for the ball out of bounds, and Duke will keep it.
And that's what Duke has done all season long. Gain extra possessions. They're 5th nationally in offensive rebound average, 16.8 per game. And one of the rules of basketball, if you get more shots, you're probably going to win.
There are certainly different metrics. If you just look at a box score without seeing the final score, that give you an indication of which side came out on top. Filipowski looked like Stevens may have gotten a piece of it on the way up. Shot clock down to 7. Mitchell, a lot of contact, and he'll shoot 2. Well, as mentioned, this Phil Knight tournament has 4 brackets going on. Basketball at 3 different venues around the city and coming up on ESPN2. How about Iowa State and Villanova, Corey?
Kyle Neptune taking over at Villanova, replacing Jay Wright in a very similar scenario as John Shire. They're the guy replacing the guy. And finding out it's way different having to move over those 12 inches into the next seat. But I believe that both Duke and Villanova are in great hands with the 2. I got to call them young men. They're younger than me.
Quite a bit younger than you.
Wait, you didn't have to say it like that, though.
Well, you know, we saw it last year with Hubert Davis replacing Roy Williams, and, you know, frankly, they had a lot of struggles throughout the regular season. In spite of the fact that they were national runners-up, they got blown out 6 or 7 times.
They really did, and it takes a while. I mean, when you think about players and taking a while, stepping into new roles and becoming comfortable with it, it takes a while for coaches as well.
Derek Lively back into the game for Duke, number 1 in blue, post defending against Rodrigo Gundella. Pope pulls up from the free throw line. He rattles home another one.
You know, the first 3 that Pope knocked down, I noticed him fading to his right, but every shot that he's taken, he's done that. So I'm assuming that's the way he shoots the basketball. And right now, he's finding his rhythm.
And you know what? He's got some blood on the side of his uniform, kind of on the back. Pope does. And it makes me kind of think of Roy Hobbs in The Natural. Looks like somebody's hand or finger maybe got him.
You snitching. You're dry snitching on national TV. Now Pope's going to have to go out because of look. Now he has to go out
because I said it over here. You think the 3 officials heard me say that?
You just snitched on Pope, and now we've got a stoppage.
I didn't snitch on Pope.
Man, listen.
You've got a warped sense of things here, my friend. This will be a long 4 days with you.
Listen, it will be, no question about it. You know,
it's already begun.
But you wouldn't rather be any place other than Thanksgiving with me, right?
I gotta go.
You going to the other side?
No.
You going to do the other games
right
over there?
I'm staying right here. What'd you say I did? What kind of snitching?
Dry snitching.
Dry snitching.
Yeah, see, dry snitching is the difference between when you're not really trying to snitch.
Gotcha.
Yeah. See, snitching, you know, you got to go into witness protection. But dry snitching, you kind of did it on the low. So, I mean, I'll stay here with you. I don't think anybody's going to be looking for you.
See, now, Jordan didn't have to leave the game. And he didn't have to change the jersey. They just applied a solution on it, and we're good to go. No problem.
Difference between dry snitching and snitching.
I always learn something new every time you and I sit down next to each other. Just under 9 minutes remaining in the half. Pope mishandles. Being guarded by Blakes, who has been that pain in the rear end since coming off the bench for John Shire. Pope leaves his feet, tough pass. Block shot at the rim. Lively and Filipowski met to make sure that Rattay did not score. Proctor. Lively back out front. Filipowski. 4 freshmen on the floor along with the sophomore Blakes, and he travels.
We look at the difference between the 2 bigs for Duke. You'd think Filipowski the scorer, but Derek Lively, this is what he does. He protects the rim with the best of them. Part of the reason why he was the #1 ranked player in high school basketball a season ago, and we've talked about Dariq Whitehead returning from injury. Derek Lively also missed a lot of time with a calf injury. He's wearing the sleeve on that right calf. It looks like me going to work out right now.
Going back to that old man thing you were talking about a minute ago.
See, I didn't talk about me being an old man. That was you.
Here's Pope. Created some space and buries the mid-range shot.
And I think Pope might have got away with one on that one. You know, Jeremy Roach could have embellished it quite a bit, but he definitely lowered the shoulder going into that move. But I love Pope's aggressiveness to start the game.
Here's the old soul on the Duke roster, 24-year-old Jacob Grandison back into the game. He began his college career for Bill Carmody at Holy Cross, then transferred to Illinois after Carmody retired, and now finds his way for a final season at Duke. Nick Crass, a freshman from Gulfport, Mississippi, with the basketball. They need him to get going. They need his three-point shooting ability.
Jeremy Roach doing a job. And again, defense gets contagious. Although Roach picks up the foul on that one, Duke right now guarding, but having a difficulty scoring.
Coming up, 32 games in 3 days. Why we are all thankful to be in Portland over Thanksgiving weekend when we come back. Happy Thanksgiving from Portland, Oregon. The Phil Knight tournaments are underway, and our game, Duke, being pushed by Oregon State early. Let's show you the invitational bracket. North Carolina was pushed right to the limit by Portland before the Tar Heels pulled away at the end. All 5 starters reached double figures, and we are awaiting Iowa State Villanova coming up next door at the Moda Center, where our Brooke Weisbrod is standing by as we double your pleasure. What's going on next door, Brooke?
What isn't going on is the question this week. I mean, you talk about a feast. We have so much basketball for you. 32 games, over 64 hours of basketball, 20 top 25 teams in the men's side and the women's side. We saw Armando Bacot and Carolina survive Portland in that first game. I'll be back to join you guys for Duke, Oregon State in the second half. We're just bouncing through. Myron Metcalf and I will try to show you everything there is to be seen, but this is it. If you love basketball, this is better than your beans, your greens, your potatoes, your tomatoes, you name it. You got basketball as Feast Week continues. We will be here for all week long on your ESPN family of networks. Enjoy. We're going to try to bring you all the coverage.
Thank you, Brooke, and get yourself back over here. We miss you.
Wait a minute. Brooke forgot mac and cheese. What is she talking about?
I don't think she forgot. I think she left it out. But what she did forget was stuffing. You got to have stuffing.
No, you got to have mac and cheese.
Stuffing.
You can leave your stuffing at home.
You got to have stuffing. And my wife's sweet potato casserole, I got to say, I am missing that this year.
Well, my wife makes stuffing, but I don't eat it. But my sister's mac and cheese, unreal.
I wouldn't say no.
Unreal.
The Beavers, giving the 8th-ranked team in the country a go for it. Oregon State retakes the lead.
And this is exactly what Coach Tinkle wanted to see from his team. He wanted them to see them come out and compete. They know that they're playing against Duke. But at the same time, it's a basketball game with an opportunity to, See, these are the type of plays that take me completely out of my thought process. Jeremy Roach finding Derek Lively, who makes his 8th field goal on the season, which also happens to be his 8th dunk. Every basket for Lively this year has been a dunk.
Well, you're 7'1", you're 230, you're a freshman from Philly, and if you can dunk every time, why not?
It's a high percentage shot.
It is. By the way, Roach is playing with 2 personal fouls, something to keep in mind here with about 6 minutes to go in the first half. Undella under control with a little baby jump hook.
Undella does a great job of really displacing Lively. We talked about Lively. He's not the biggest guy right now.
Whitehead from the left corner. Got a good looking stroke. He's made a couple so far today. Pope had a sense he was going to get his shot that time.
Nice ball movement against the zone, and then Jeremy Roach getting inside the lane, just throwing it up to where only his guy can go get it. Derek Lively with the finish, but on the other end of the floor, taking Lively into the post. Undella doing a great job using his body to be able to get off that shot.
Well, Undella's back in the lineup after missing most of last season with an injury. He's played only 7 games before suffering a broken left foot in practice. Foul on the drive as Tyrese Proctor looks to put his imprint on this ball game. First foul on Nick Crass. And there's a good look at Tyrese Proctor, 6'3", 175. A young man, still only 18 years old, a freshman who came from the other side of the world, Sydney, Australia, to play his college basketball, not in the G League, not elsewhere, but in Durham at Duke University.
And reclassed up. He really was a part of the 2023 class, but reclassed up to join the Duke Blue Devils this year. And a welcome sight for him. The shooting was something that they needed. They definitely get that in the form of Proctor.
Well, he was going to take a gap year, according to John Shire, either way. And so when the roster spot opened up, it didn't take too long for Tyrese Proctor and his parents to say yes. Mom Melissa, Dad Rod, former professional basketball player himself. Well, in our third venue, the North Carolina women are showing up, getting ready to take on Oregon, a game you can see at 5 Eastern over on ESPNU.
Interested to watch Deja Kelly get the job done for North Carolina. She's been spectacular her entire career, and I believe she may be one that we would be working with soon. She might come take your job. Mine's not available.
You got to quit offering my job to other people.
Why? It's Thanksgiving. Wait a minute, that's Christmas, right? When I can start giving gifts.
Wonder what Robbie Hummel is doing next door. Well, as you saw, they are just underway. Iowa State and Villanova at Motor Center. We're at Veterans Memorial Coliseum. The bucket made by Glenn Taylor Jr., the sophomore from Las Vegas. There's Robbie and Kevin Brown. I don't think Robbie is heaping abuse on Kevin as I am feeling here.
Is Kevin a Syracuse guy?
Of course he is.
Then Robbie is definitely giving him the same abuse. Oh, nice defensive play by Roach. Unable to finish, gets it back.
Filipowski.
2 offensive rebounds for the Blue Devils, but Jeremy Roach started with the full court defense, coming up with the steal to give the Blue Devils the lead.
How does Oregon State get this man, Glenn Taylor, more involved? Number 35 in white comes in averaging 16 per game. He just got his first 2 points.
Well, the problem is when you are the #1 guy on the scouting report, you're going to get the attention of the Blue Devils, and so he doesn't play with the basketball in his hands as often. It's going to be difficult for him to get his looks, but Wayne Tinkle will have some way, especially adjustment in the second half, to try to get him more opportunities.
Filipowski with his 4th rebound to go along with his 4 points. Whitehead turns down the 3 and tries to throw it down on the Beavers.
And a month from now, that will be a dunk. And that's the difference between Dariq Whitehead coming back from injury and Dariq Whitehead when he's in shape. A month from now, I guarantee you, he will make that a poster and put that on somebody's head.
Zubin and guys, thank you very much. With Corey Alexander, I'm Doug Sherman back in Portland. Duke has dominated the offensive glass 8-1, but we've got ourselves a competitive ball game.
We absolutely do. And when you look at this game, you got to give Oregon State a lot of credit for coming out and shooting the basketball well to start this game off. They've struggled from 3 all year long, but the 3-pointer has helped them stay in this game here in the first half.
Jordan Pope leading the Beavers with 7 points. Good balance and good connectivity for Duke. They have 8 made field goals, 6 assists, and that's usually a pretty good indication.
It absolutely is. Doug, I talked about, being a fan and being able to go to the other side and watch the first half of games before we come over and work, but I went full fanboy earlier today. My man Phil Knight is sitting right beside me. I had to go take a picture.
Yes.
I mean, again, that is one for the ages right there. Very seldom do you get an opportunity to take a picture with Phil Knight, and he actually is sitting here right beside us with Eric Lautenbach, who is one of the masterminds behind this event. Talked with E earlier, and he said this was simply a gift. The whole Phil Knight Invitational and Legacy Tournaments were a gift to Phil Knight for all that he has done, not just for sports, but especially for basketball.
Well, it is truly a quadruple tournament extravaganza. 4 brackets, 3 arenas, and we have Coach Knight sitting, or rather Phil Knight, sitting 10 feet from us.
There's my guy.
There he is.
You didn't take a picture, though.
No, but we had a great conversation before the game. I appreciate the time. I mean, he's the man who started the Nike empire.
He absolutely did.
And so we are here celebrating his 85th birthday in a similar manner to the way we came 5 years ago. Phil Knight and Nike hosted a spectacular double tournament event 5 years ago here in Portland with just the men's teams. Duke won the motion bracket that time. Michigan State won the victory bracket 5 years ago, but it's expanded. We've got the women here as well with a 3rd building involved. And we are so glad you're with us for the start of our fun over the next 4 days, the Phil Knight Legacy quarterfinals. Back at Veterans Memorial Coliseum, the former home of the Portland Trail Blazers. With Corey Alexander, I'm Doug Sherman. Are you old enough to have played in this building when you were in the NBA?
I did not play in this building. I believe I played in what was the Rose Garden, and I believe that is now the Motor Center right across from us. I think my entire career was played there. I don't remember playing in this building.
But this is the building where the Trail Blazers, led by Bill Walton, won the NBA championship.
Who will be here later this evening. I was calling games, I believe. There was a special chair sitting out here, and it had do not touch. So I'm assuming that was Bill Walton's chair.
Yeah, he and Roxy Bernstein will be here. And Bill Walton does have a special chair in both buildings waiting for him. Blake's missed the 3, and on the rebounding action, we've got a foul that goes against the Blue Devils.
And if I had to guess, I would say this is also the building that Bill Walton won an NBA championship in the 70s with the Portland Trailblazers, correct?
That's what I'm saying, yeah, 1977.
Okay. Did you say that earlier?
I did. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, I never listened to you.
About 90 seconds ago, I said that very thing.
Really?
But when you walk into the building, up on the concourse level, there is a huge photograph of Bill Walton in all his glory with the red beard, his arms raised from 1977.
Well, you know, Bill Walton was a big fan of the Corey Alexander beard. He was part of the reason why I kept it for a week longer than I normally would have.
Okay. Yeah, that was a heck of a beard. I don't know if we have a shot of it, but coming out of the lockdown, Corey was very much a hermit and looked like it when we put him back on camera. Well, it's not just here in Portland, Oregon. We've got college basketball all around the country and off of the continental United States as well, including the battle for Atlantis. Kansas needed overtime to defeat Wisconsin. And USC and Tennessee also in overtime right now.
So great games going over in Atlantis. Checked out earlier, my guy Jimmy Dykes doing a great job.
Did I see him talking to the SEALs earlier?
Well, you know, Jimmy can speak to anyone.
He can speak SEAL?
Yeah, absolutely.
Whitehead off the bounce. Taylor with a rebound. Sophomore from Vegas dribbles up, gets it back. Akano. Fouled on the three. Filipowski allows for the chance for a 4-point play.
And I was going to say a great 2-for-1 opportunity for the Beavers, which could turn out to be a 4-for-1 opportunity for the Beavers right there. And chance for a 4-point play as Akano knocks down the 3 ball. Filipowski comes out. The contact, the bucket is good. And right now, Oregon State not only hanging with, but one-upping the number 8 team in the country here in the Phil Knight Legacy Tournament.
Well, Corey, that was just the first foul of the day on Filipowski. A couple of Dukies, Roach and Grandison are on the bench with 2 each. And then there are 3 Beavers with 2 fouls each. Marial, Crass, and Bilodeau. Well, we talked off the top about the brilliance of freshman guard Jordan Pope.
And Jordan Pope, and this shot is a little unorthodox. You see him fading to his right, but it's good. And you see Pope, that's really his style. He likes to take the ball to the right, and this time going to the left, is able to go to the step back, knocking down the shot after a little contact with Jeremy Roach. But Pope has been aggressive in this game. We knew he would be to start it off. Wayne Tinkle let us know he will not be scared. 7 points for Pope early, 3 for 6 from the field.
Well, Jordan's a 4-star out of Prolific Prep in Napa, California. So he is the goods, although he's getting an extended experience to start his college career with the injury suffered by Christian Wright, who suffered that injury over in Italy in August. And so Jordan has certainly seized on that expanded role.
You know, the stars don't matter once you get to college, right?
It does not.
Okay.
But it's a frame of reference that I find very interesting. That obviously if they re-rank them as our guy Paul Biancardi does.
Duke doesn't know the shot clock.
Apparently Roach did.
They've got to go look at that. They're going to have to go review that. I don't know if Jeremy Roach got that shot off in time. And the rules say if it's a made field goal, you can go over and review to see. And with 1 second left, Young still had it in the post, throwing it out to Roach. I don't think it was possible for Roach to be able to get that shot off in time. Ooh.
It is good.
Ooh, quick release by Jeremy Roach. That does look good.
He's the junior leader. He knew. He understood how much time he had. Clearly.
He knew. No one else knew.
Well, DJ Karstensen and Rob Riley, 2 of our 3 officials, have come to their determination, and Karstensen raises his hands above his head to say, indeed, it counts, a 3-pointer.
Great recognition by Roach. Young had no idea when he had the basketball in his hand that it was only 1 second remaining on the shot clock. But Jeremy Roach does a great job recognizing, gets to a spot, knocking down the 3 ball.
So Corey, here this late half, John Shire handles it beautifully. He brings Roach back into the game on offense. He gets the 3-pointer from him instead of the turnover, and now with his 2 personal fouls, he sits down for the presumed final possession of the half. Reevney off the back iron, long rebound. Shot at the buzzer. No foul, and that'll do it for the first half. The 8th-ranked team in the country being pushed by the Beavers from Oregon State.
And give Oregon State a lot of credit. Wayne Tinkle coming out, mixing up his man and his zone defenses, throwing Duke off and throwing their rhythm off a bit. Oregon State battling on the glass as well.
Let's go over to Brooke with Coach Scheyer.
Coach, Oregon State switching up their offense from zone to man, giving you guys some trouble offensively. What would you like to see happen within your offense?
Well, they're doing a great job. You know, they play their zone really well. It's hard to identify exactly what they're in. The biggest thing is we can't just catch and hold or catch and stand. I thought we did a good job later in the half of getting some better movement. Just need to continue to play that way. And then the biggest thing on the defensive end, you know, we need to get some stops.
Jeremy Roach hit this big three. It counted. How much momentum will that give you in going into the locker room?
Yeah, it was a big play. And Jeremy, you know, Jeremy's never afraid. And his poise and confidence through it all is a big deal for our team.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
You're watching ESPN's Feast Week presented by Lowe's. Welcome to the Phil Knight Legacy Tournament. Our halftime score, Duke 29, Oregon State 27. Moments ago, Brooke Weisbrod caught up with Beavers head coach Wayne Tinkle.
All right, Coach, you have Duke shooting 32%, a mixture of zone and man. What is it about your defense that's being so well disguised?
Well, I just think our guys have been really attuned to the plan of going zone. Really, the focus has been getting back to takeaway transition in our tandem and then building out. A couple times we went match and we missed a couple, gave them some open looks. But overall, I think we're causing a little bit of hesitancy. We got to rebound it better, and I know they're making some adjustments at half, so we got to keep up the focus and the effort.
Jordan Pope, the freshman, having a great first half so far, 7 points. What is it about him that he's getting good shots?
He's a great one-on-one player. We put him in a couple different actions where we got him in space. They did a nice job of icing our ball screens, but he recovered from that. He turns the corner and he comes off a two. He shoots that mid-range at a high level. We need him to continue to make plays for us.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Brooke. Thank you, Coach Tinkle, for your time. With Corey Alexander, I'm Doug Sherman back courtside. Duke closed out that first half, missing 13 of its final 17 shots. Corey, how do they get better at this end?
Well, they get better at this end by getting better shots. And right now, Oregon State's defense in the zone and switching back and forth has given Duke that hesitancy. And because of that, they're not really sure what action to run. So right now, Coach Scheyer going to have to go to something he can run against man and zone.
Fight for the basketball. Filipowski ties it up.
But on that offensive rebound, Derek Lively had an opportunity right there gathering the basketball just to go straight back up and dunk it. Never even looked at the rim. And again, we talked about Lively has missed time this year. He didn't play in the first game for the Blue Devils, and right now he is not as aggressive as I would have expected him to be, or the young man that I watched play throughout high school his whole career. And that's something he needs to be looking to find his opportunities a little more.
And number one in the 2022 ESPN 100 preseason ACC Rookie of the Year. That's an offensive foul against Dimitri Rivny, his first.
Filipowski does a great job getting to the spot. Tough to see from that angle, but I'm not sure if Rivny extended that arm. But Filipowski does a great job sliding his feet, getting over into the spot if it's guarding him.
Well, Oregon State has been shooting with a much greater efficiency, but Duke has been shooting the basketball much more frequently. They've only got 3 turnovers, and they've got a ton of offensive rebounds. No chance for an offensive rebound, though, when you shoot an air ball that goes out of bounds.
Well, I'm not sure that's in his bag right now. Filipowski going to the crossover, the step back, this, that, and another. No, he's great at catching and shooting, and we showed his ability to drive the basketball, but I'm not sure if he's creating opportunities like that on his own yet.
Well, Kyle and his twin brother, Matt, who is a freshman at Harvard, playing for former Duke star Tommy Amaker, have had quite a journey coming from Westtown, New York. That's in Orange County, just north of New York City. Blue Devils with a takeaway. Here comes Tyrese Proctor. Proctor and Roach in the backcourt. It was a quiet first half for Mark Mitchell, who came in averaging nearly 12 points per game. He just has a single free throw make. Lively sets the screen for Roach. Thought about it. Now to Mitchell with 5 on the shot clock. Change to the right hand, and Marial says, get that out of here.
Well, that's one of the advantages that Oregon State has. They have 2 shot blockers in the top 11 in Pac-12 play right now. So Marial is number 11, comes up with a big block.
against Derek Lively.
I would love to see that one because it didn't look like he got that on the backboard before Lively got to a great angle. Ooh, I think that's a good block.
Tied at 29. Mitchell still looking for his first field goal. The Blue Devils getting multiple shots at it. Still come away empty. Taylor. Contact, no call. And Marial will head to the free throw line.
But you can tell that there is a different level of energy in the building for the Beavers. Taylor getting to the basket. Show Marial doing a great job, not assuming that his teammate is going to make the layup. And as Lively goes for the block shot, Marial comes up with the offensive rebound and an opportunity to take a lead at the free throw line.
Did you see yesterday, Corey, during the Oregon State practice when I threw a perfect bounce pass to the big man at 7-2? He turned and laid it in. I got my first assist of the week here in Portland.
No, I showed up a little late.
Oh, you didn't see that?
I'll probably see it, but I'm not going to admit to it on national television.
All right. Well, Shoal and I will recreate it for you on Saturday. Well, Shoal is every bit a 7'2", 235 pounds. Played a year of high school ball in Arizona at Arizona Compass Prep. Getting extended minutes today as long as fouls allow for him to against this big front line for Duke.
Shoal is probably as surprised about you passing the ball as I am.
That's true. Because I set you up more on a broadcast than I would on the court. I'm getting mine. And I know you can appreciate that.
I absolutely can.
Filipowski rebounds the miss by Akano. Roach off the hesitation.
But
sees the 7-2 man standing there and passes it out.
That was the presence of Shoal Marial, just Jeremy Roach getting inside the paint and realizing he's not going to get that shot off, so doesn't even bother trying to take that look, and Duke walks away with the empty possession.
Duke has missed 20 of its last 24 shots, including 0 for 7 here in the second half. Pope's bucket makes it a 4-point Beavers lead.
Well, Wayne Tinkle talked about Pope was a very good one-on-one player, and you see him getting into his full complement of moves. Jordan Pope going behind the back, the mid-range pull-up. Dougie Fresh, no matter what they tell you, the mid-range is still alive. Yet they play two completely different styles, so looking forward to that matchup next.
And I say new head coach Sean Miller, I should say second go-round head coach Sean Miller back in Cincinnati, trying to get the Musketeers back to where he was regularly taking them deep into the NCAA tournament. Ryan Young into the game, working on Marial, back out to Dariq Whitehead. Here's Tyrese Proctor, put it on the floor. Roach for 3. Whitehead rips the rebound away, goes back up, and he was fouled. It goes against Dimitri Rivne.
And Dariq Whitehead has been productive in this game. We saw him knock down 2 threes in the first half, and now coming up with offensive rebound, an opportunity to get Duke back a little closer to Oregon State in this one at the free throw line. But the offensive rebounding has been a plus for the Blue Devils here this afternoon. But it don't matter if they don't convert.
Dariq Whitehead, coming out of Montverde, was offered a reported $500,000 to go play for the G League Ignite team, and instead he decided to come to Duke University. And it's options like that that are so interesting in this day and age, Corey, where these kids have real good options, whether they turn pro or whether they come to college. There's money to be made either way.
There absolutely is, and I love the fact that these young men and women are getting an opportunity to make money off their name, image, and likeness, whether it's through college or going the professional route right out of high school.
I appreciate, and I'm thankful on Thanksgiving Day that you and I are able to make our living off of college basketball, and it stands to reason that the players should benefit financially as well. Jacob Grandison looking for his first bucket. Traveling violation. A rare turnover today for Duke. 33-30 our score. Oregon State.
Just somebody who's painted a great way for the game years to come. I think just, winning games is going to be the biggest thing, playing physical, being a team together. That's my biggest job, is just being a good leader, helping my teammates out, getting them open shots, and everything else will come and fall in place.
So coming off that big win against Florida State to facing the team that knocked you out of the tournament 7 months ago, as a competitor, how much are you looking forward to this game?
Oh, definitely looking forward to it. We're all hyped up, ready to go. Coach Golden has set a good game plan for us. We just got to go out there, play hard, match their physicality. They're a really good team, but we're ready. We're ready to go and just fired up to play.
Gator fans were stoked to hear you were making the return back. A big reason for that was Coach Golden. What is it about his relationship that you felt it was important to return?
He relates to players really well. This year I feel like he's got a very good energy about himself. Every day in practice you got the same energy. Nothing ever drops off, and that's something you look up to as a player when you're out there playing hard. You look over and he's hyping you up, clapping his hands. That's something that you feed off, and all the guys in the locker room really enjoy him being around, whether that's film, eating, just in the gym every day. We really enjoy being around him. He's a younger guy, and he's played professional basketball as well. So, he sees the vision for all the guys that want to make it to the next level. But also, he gets on you as well. So he has a little bit of both involved in him, and we really enjoy being around him.
Thank you.
Colin and the Gators will take on the Musketeers from Xavier coming up 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 local on ESPN2. Our second game, along with Brooke and Corey, I'm Doug. Just under 6 minutes into the second half, and what do you know? Oregon State continues to maintain this 3-point lead.
Well, Reevney giving Duke a taste of its own medicine after a young offensive rebound and putback. The Beavers come up with the offensive rebound and putback of their own to extend the lead to 3. Duke still with a tremendous advantage in offensive rebounding, but really haven't converted on as many of them. Only a 4-point advantage on second chance points.
Tend to shoot. Roach, pitch to the corner. Proctor off of the fake, got his shot blocked. Duke fans in the building screaming for a foul, but it's a clean block for Reevney.
But Proctor hesitating on the first shot allowed Reevney to be able to get over and block that shot.
Drive and dish. And there is a foul by Jacob Grandison.
It was a tough catch for Proctor in the corner. Unable to catch it cleanly and shoot it, but the pump fake gave Reevney time to be able to get there and block the shot. And that's one where if you're Proctor, you've got to drive the big fellow. He's on his way out there to try to block your shot. You got to put it in drive, try to touch the paint.
So Proctor goes out. Grandison, who picks up his third personal foul, stays in.
And Blakes comes in to try to slow down Jordan Pope, but it ends up being a foul as Pope continues to stay aggressive, trying to get into the painted area. When Blakes comes into the game, Jeremy Roach immediately goes off of Pope, moves over and allows Blakes to guard the hot hand of Jordan Pope, who's the game's leading scorer.
Foul number 2 on Ryan Young. More substitutions back and forth. Grandison has gone out. Blakes, Young, Whitehead, Filipowski, and Roach, the 5 on the floor for Duke. This is Dexter Akano, who calls his own number and connects. The junior from Valencia, California, gives OSU a 6-point lead.
But Young had to give Akano so much room because he was fearful of him driving past him. So much room that Akano pretty much had a wide open jump shot. Now you see Oregon State back to the zone defensively.
Whitehead off the pass fake. Little short.
Wayne Tinkle not fearful of guarding Duke with the zone because he's not fearful of them as 3-point shooters.
Akano. Now it's in moments like this where you're facing a little adversity. I would assume most of the Duke players are looking to Jeremy Roach.
And the thing is you can't just pass the ball around the perimeter looking for threes. You've got to find a way to get inside the painted area, which they do a great job there. The high-low pass from Filipowski to Young gets the easy bucket.
Right on cue, Corey. Every once in a while, you surprise me.
You know, I mean, I'm much smarter than I look. Let's just say that.
Well, I would hope so.
I'm not just a pretty face, Dougie Fresh.
Third foul on Roach.
Akano catches the basketball at the top of the key. and you see how much space Young has to give him, that's an easy look from the top of the key for anyone playing at this level of basketball. That's a practice shot.
Well, Licano, he is a Marquette transfer, spent 2 years in Milwaukee, one as a redshirt year before transferring to Oregon State. Last year with the Beavers, played 29 games, started more than half of those, playing a bigger role even here this season. Off the window, Bilodeau.
And that is a move that has been questionable as to whether or not it is legal forever. When you establish yourself and then you take another step for the bucket, I didn't think it was legal in men's college basketball. Oregon State getting the job done here close to Corvallis. As you see, Bilodeau, 1 step, 2 steps, but it's still a good bucket. The Beavers in the lead.
Uh-oh.
The Duke Blue Devils started the game 6 for 14 from the field. Since then, they are 6 for 30, and it's a byproduct of Wayne Tinkle switching defenses between man and zone. You see a possession of man-to-man and then a possession of zone defensively. Duke does a great job going high-low interior passing. Young is able to get a bucket on the inside, but the hesitancy of the Blue Devils coming down offensively has been because they're not certain as to what type of defense the Oregon State Beavers are in at that point. Give Wayne Tinkle and his staff a tremendous amount of credit. And you look to his left, you see Eric Revenue, who's come over from Georgia Tech, who has a lot of experience coaching and playing against Duke. And right now, that experience has helped the Beavers thus far.
Filipowski turns and is fouled. Well, you know, you got a sense in Oregon State's opening game against Tulsa where they rallied from 16 down at the half to win that game. And this is a team that only won 3 times a year ago. You got the sense that reworking that roster is going to be a good thing for Coach Tinkle and his staff this year.
Well, we know Wayne Tinkle can coach, so we don't have to go there. 3-28 was more of a byproduct of the character that they had on their team more so than was his coaching. And Coach Tinkle told us yesterday, hey, we had to make a move in a direction with younger players who were committed to being here and being part of a rebuild. And right now, they don't look like this is a rebuild today. They've looked great here this afternoon, up 4 on the number 8 team in the country.
One of those freshmen, Tyler Bilodeau from Kennewick, Washington, has 3 fouls now. Filipowski for Duke with a couple of free throws. Foul on the shot, everything but the finish for Jordan Pope.
And we talk about Bilodeau. We mentioned his hockey background in the past, but one of the things that Coach Tinkle loves about his team is they're not going to be fearful. Even in this moment, he made it clear to us they're going to compete, they're going to play. And you see Bilodeau here with the nice find, taking advantage of the aggressiveness of Blake's on the perimeter. The back cut gets Pope an opportunity at the free throw line.
And that personal, Corey, went against Ryan Young. It's his 3rd. There's a look at Tyler Bilodeau. His father, Brent, was selected in the 1991 NHL draft, 17th overall by the Canadiens. Brent never played in the NHL, but did have a 12-year professional career. And Tyler's grandfather was a Flyers draft pick in the 6th round back in 1971. And again, Tyler grew up playing both hockey and basketball, has chosen hoops at the college level. Pass deflected. It comes back to Roach. Thought about the 3, turns it down for Mitchell, and he was fouled before the shot.
I don't know much about hockey, but
I can't wait to hear where this is going.
That's the disclaimer. But wouldn't Tyler be a little tall on skates for hockey, or are hockey players actually that tall?
There was a Boston Bruin who was 6'9", so you can be that tall. But you're right. Typically, they are not that tall. Zdeno Chara, I believe, was 6'9", and he's, if not already in the Hockey Hall of Fame, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
I can remember when I was playing for the Denver Nuggets, and we were terrible, by the way. And the Colorado Avalanche, which we had the same ownership, were winning Stanley Cups. That's why I didn't care for hockey.
Well, Bilodeau has his 4th foul. If he was playing hockey, that would just get him more ice time. Mitchell misses. Foul on the rebound as Young came away with it. Well, as mentioned, we have 4 different brackets going on in 3 different locations for the Phil Knight tournaments. And the women's bracket on the Legacy side, what do you know? The Duke Blue Devils are in town as well to take on Gino Auriemma's UConn Huskies, 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. And the Blue Devils are led by an old friend of ours.
Absolutely. Carol Lawson running the show for the Duke Blue Devils women's program. And of course, there's Nina King, athletic director at Duke, who has been awesome in her short tenure there thus far, and having to usher in John Shire as the new head coach for the men's program after having the same coach for 42 years on the sideline. You know, is this our first Coach K mention of the game?
I think it is.
Got to head to check in on my guy, see how he's doing. He's hasn't been to a game at Cameron yet, but is now a Buffalo Bills fan, believe it or not, after being a Chicago Bears fan for 70 years.
Really?
Yes, yes. Got to talk to Coach K about that.
2 to shoot. Akano beats the buzzer and puts it through. Midway through the second half, the 8th-ranked team in the country trails by 6. Make it 4, and it could be down to 3 with Filipowski heading to the line.
And that's a nice finish, and the even better pass to get the basketball inside of the painted area to Filipowski. Grandison does a great job finding the seam to be able to get that pass through. And then Filipowski, against the shot blocker, uses his body with the finish for the bucket. An opportunity for the and-1.
And Corey, fouls are becoming a real issue for the Beavers. Bilodeau and Andela both have 4. That was the 3rd on Marial. Jaden Stevens goes out. Glenn Taylor, one of the co-captains, comes back in. And there is Marial, the former Terrapin.
And now you see the Blue Devils extending the pressure full court, trying to find a way to speed up Oregon State to see if they can get a turnover, but really just token pressure.
Taylor runs into Filipowski, who picks up the blocking foul. Don't look now, Filipowski has himself another double-double with nearly 10 minutes left to play.
No surprise whatsoever. It started off the season with 3 straight, the only Duke freshman to ever do that.
But he picks up the personal foul, his 2nd, to go along with the 11 points and 10 rebounds. Akano got a paint touch, finds an open teammate, but the corner 3 is off the mark by Reevney. Here come the Blue Devils, down by 3.
But the Beavers doing a great job getting back, and that's really been their goal, is to get back in transition, build a wall, make Duke have to play against set defense. Even after the air ball on that possession, did a great job getting back.
Filipowski. Shot and air ball, kept it alive to Young. They reset the shot clock. Doesn't matter, though, as the Blue Devils just keep attacking.
Ryan Young doing a great job. Young actually on offense boxed out Joel Mariel on that possession and was able to get an opportunity at the free throw line because he was the aggressor, getting inside position to pick up an offensive board.
Now Marial picks up his 4th personal foul. In talking with Oregon State assistant coach Stephen Thompson before the game, he was hoping that the officials would let them play and that the Beavers' physicality in this type of matchup would benefit them. But at this point, they've got 3 players with 4 personal fouls.
And you've just been waiting for just the right time to mention your Syracuse guy, Stephen Thompson, correct?
You got that right. Reach in foul on Blakes. Well, you come to Oregon, you figure the folks from Corvallis might have the home court advantage, but that's not the case here this afternoon.
Well, we've seen a bit of both. You know, we were over on the other side watching the Portland UNC game earlier, where UNC had the fan base going early. And then, of course, it started to pick up for Portland the closer they got into the later and they got into the game. And right now, again, there's a big following for the Duke Blue Devils. Everywhere you go, it doesn't matter. Duke is the only global basketball program. There are a number of national programs, but globally, there's just Duke. And when you think about that, there are fans all over the world that cheer for the Blue Devils. But as this game gets later and later, if Oregon State is hanging around, there are always people there wanting to see a huge upset.
And we've got more and more Gators and Musketeers fans filtering into the building because their teams will face off next. And you're right, just like in the NCAA tournament, the neutral fans always pull for the underdog. Seven to shoot. Filipowski rises and connects. Ball game tied 45 apiece. Marial for his first three of the year can't connect. Last time Duke held the lead in this one was 29-27 at the half on Roach's late three. They go inside to Filipowski. Duke fortunate to keep possession. Reevney saved it, but right back to Duke. No change of possession, so 10 on the shot clock. Roach finds an opening in the lane, gets the roll. Timeout, Oregon State.
It was Jeremy Roach at the end of the first half that gave the Blue Devils a 2-point lead to halftime. This time it's Kyle Filipowski who comes up with the big three to tie the game. And the last possession is Jeremy Roach once again getting into the painted area to give the Blue Devils a 2-point lead. 7:32 remains.
Back in Portland, Oregon for the Phil Knight tournament. We've got a good one to start off the legacy bracket. 8th-ranked Duke has just retaken the lead, Corey.
Well, they've done it with, plays from their guys they're going to have to depend on all season long. Kyle Filipowski with a big three, and then Jeremy Roach getting into the painted area for the bucket in the mid-range to take that lead. But when you look at the Blue Devils right now, they've got two players actually on the floor with double-doubles. Filipowski with 14 and 10, and Ryan Young with 11 and 10. A grad transfer and a freshman getting the job done on the interior for the Blue Devils.
Well, after starting the second half ice cold, Duke only 2 of 15 since that time. They've made 3 of 5 to reclaim the lead for the first time since halftime. Filipowski making life difficult on Glenn Taylor. Boy, this Duke front wall making it really difficult. Pope missed the three.
And right now, the Beavers back into a man-to-man defensively, showing Duke different looks each and every time down the floor, trying to mix it up to keep the Blue Devils off balance.
Young with a quick spin, but apparently he traveled.
This Duke team is stout defensively. You see Filipowski walling up, losing the basketball, but continues to stay with it, not giving any angles. And you see the Blue Devils getting involved. Young coming up with the block shot. This is a much better defensive team than I believe anyone was anticipating this season.
I like Proctor coming down to pinch in on it as well. By the way, that was Duke's first turnover. The travel by Young in 9 minutes. Again, the shot clock an issue against this Duke defense. Lean in, contact, no call. Filipowski had it for a moment, and the foul goes against Oregon State. Let's go over to Brooke.
Well, guys, during that last huddle, you felt the energy after Kyle Filipowski hit that huge three. he was the first one to ignite the whole team. And not only that, you had freshman Dariq Whitehead contributing, talking, Ryan Young coming in to do the deal, and Jeremy Roach leading as well. So it's a really balanced communication in the huddle. Head coach Jon Scheyer coming in late just to give the team some pointers, but looking around to each team, asking if anyone had anything to say, and looking at his guys and saying, hey, we got this. Let's prepare if they go to a zone.
And Brooke, you've been a leader on teams like this, and when you think about it, this is the type of environment that really allows you to establish who your leaders are going to be. Who's going to be that person that has to make a play when you need one? Who does coach draw up that play for after the timeouts?
Of course, Brooke was a star with the Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina. And I'm sitting right alongside the former All-ACC guard Corey Alexander. I'm Doug Sherman. Welcome back to what is a marvelous start to a 4-day run of the Phil Knight tournaments. 24 teams in town, 16 men's, 8 women's, representing many of the nation's top Nike schools, including Duke and Oregon State. Proctor finds Filipowski. Quick pass inside to Young. Under 5.5 minutes to go.
And you've seen Coach Wayne Tinkle sticking to the man-to-man defense, and part of the reason for that is because it's so difficult to rebound, defensive rebound out of a zone, and that's where Duke has really hurt Oregon State, is on their offensive glass. So going back to the man-to-man.
Pope guarded by Grandison. Pope averaging 15.5 points per game. He defers this time. A beautiful bounce pass to Undella.
Nice find by Pope. Getting into the painted area, staying aggressive, and looking out for a teammate.
Yeah, he averages 4 assists per game, playing that lead guard spot as a freshman for the Beavers. Proctor with a wide open look. Young pulls it back out for Roach.
Another possession, another offensive rebound for Young. He has been awesome on the offensive glass. His 6th offensive rebound on the afternoon.
Out of bounds. Beavers get the ball back. Yeah, Corey, you're talking about the extended possessions. Offensive rebounds now, Duke 18, Oregon State 5.
But when you look at second chance points, it's not a huge advantage for the Blue Devils as you would expect when you're up 13. Only a 7-point advantage.
Right, so it's a 2-to-1 points advantage when it's more than a 3-to-1 rebound advantage.
Your Pope right now, this is when you want to get into your bag. Take Filipowski off the bounce. Filipowski doing a great job defensively.
Wow. At 7 feet tall, perimeter defense, and a steal.
And that's a missed opportunity for Oregon State, but take your hat off to Kyle Filipowski staying in front of the much smaller point guard.
Proctor off the feed from Roach. Halfway down came out. And there's that man again, Kyle Filipowski.
The offensive rebounding is great, but the most impressive thing I've seen out of Kyle Filipowski today is this: moving his feet defensively and then taking the ball from the point guard. Filipowski doing it all.
Duke Blue Devils, who have double-doubles at this point.
Yeah, 15 points, 13 rebounds. Kyle Filipowski hasn't shot the basketball as well as I'm sure he was expecting coming into this game, but he's done the tough stuff, and that is probably what makes Coach Jon Scheyer happier than anything else. The last defensive stand where he sits in the stance and guards Jordan Pope and not only stops him from scoring but takes the basketball away was the most impressive thing I've seen from Filipowski here this afternoon.
So Filipowski with the 15 points and 13 rebounds, but let's not overlook Ryan Young. He has Duke's 2nd double-double of the game, and his first since he played for Northwestern against DePaul 3 years ago. Young has 12 rebounds to go along with his point total, and those 12 rebounds are matching a career high, again dating back to his time as a Northwestern Wildcat. Found it interesting, you know, he transferred from Northwestern where he played for Chris Collins, who kind of mentored and coached Jon Scheyer at Duke, and he has had the easiest transition of all the transfers, the grad transfers coming to Durham, because they basically run a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah, CC made it clear. He said, well, he's going to leave here, so if he's leaving, no place I'd rather him be than in Durham with the Blue Devils, and he's fit in extremely well, playing significant minutes here down the stretch.
You know, Ryan Young's parents both were athletes at Syracuse, so he's a smart guy. You know that. Dad was on the crew. Mom played volleyball.
So am I supposed to assume that he was a smart guy because he went to Syracuse?
Of course.
Oh.
Of course. Physically gifted. I think it goes without saying.
Okay.
Well, as we went to break, we did have a disqualified Beaver. Fouling out of the game was Undella, so he is out, and there are other Beavers who are in foul difficulty as Dexter Acano stands at the free throw line. Got the first. Out of Blair Academy in New Jersey, gets a pair. 50-49, and there you see number 34 out of the ball game, but not out of the game, cheering on his teammates. Proctor wide open. Off the back iron. Numbers if the Beavers hurry with Jordan Pope. Now they'll pull it back out. Taylor. Acano. Joel Mariel's got to be careful playing with those 4 fouls. Looked like he could have been called for going over the back.
You know what? The officials did a great job on that because it would have been a foul if Young didn't come away with the rebound. But they allowed it to play out. Young still gets the rebound. No harm, no foul.
Proctor into the lane. He passes it away right into the Duke bench. Unfortunately for him, Derek Lively is not in the ball game right now.
And Blakes will come in for Proctor on this possession. I'm sorry, for Grandison. For a defensive possession right now, and you want Blakes being the guy having to guard the best player. He's guarding Taylor right now. Jeremy Roach is going to stay on Pope, who's been the hot hand.
And again, that rebound for Young a moment ago, his 12th to tie his career high. 2:10 to go in regulation. Number 8 Duke being pushed to the limit by Oregon State. Rata, air ball. Young with rebound number 13. Roach uses the screen from Young, finds himself with a little opening. Young gets the rebound. Smartly brings it back out.
Young fortunate on that one. I saw 2 hands in the back of Joel Mariel.
Told you he was smart.
Yeah. Well, hey, wait a minute. That's Northwestern. That's different.
Roach, tough shot. Didn't catch iron. Young with another rebound. And the shot clock should not have reset. And so we're going to have a stoppage to get it right.
Jon Scheyer was yelling to Blakes to shoot the basketball. He knew the shot clock doesn't go. That's the second possession where Blue Devils didn't know that the ball didn't hit the rim and shot clock did not reset. But I believe we're going to come away from this with a shot clock violation. And the Beavers with an opportunity to go put points on the board right now, see if they can regain the lead. Jeremy Roach goes to the basket as Mariel goes for the block. The ball never hits the rim. And as it's thrown out, the shot clock resets. I believe this will be a shot clock violation. Or do you think they go back with 1 or 2 seconds left on the shot clock?
I'd like to think that they reset it and put 3 or 4 back on at the point where they secured the ball. So
well,
you can
4 would be too much.
Okay.
Because when Young throws the basketball out, there's still a couple of seconds there from the time that the officials recognize it and blow the whistle.
I don't think they should be penalized for a shot clock violation if the clock did not illustrate that it was a violation. You know what I mean? I'd rather have them put the time back on the clock.
Well, you see Roach go to the basket as he goes up. At this point, it's 4 seconds on the shot clock. You throw it out now, it's 2 seconds, which should be on the shot clock when Blakes catches the basketball. If anything, you go back where the officials blew the whistle and you give Duke 2 seconds. But you know, I think that's only fair. I don't think that you give them 4 for the simple fact it's not as though the Blue Devils recognize that the shot clock had gone down either.
I agree. And then I think it should be 3 from the pass because you have to have the inbounds pass. You know what I mean? So we'll see what DJ Carstensen and Rob Riley come up with as they confer over across the way. By the way, Ryan Young just keeps piling up the rebounds. 15, including 8 offensive boards. And now DJ Carstensen will come over.
So we're going to have 1 second on the shot clock, and that is exactly when the officials blew the whistle, recognizing it will be Duke's basketball at the 28-foot mark, but only 1 second remaining. So UVA beat Syracuse on that one. Both big-time Nike schools, by the way.
That's a good point.
Syracuse actually was maybe the first huge Nike school.
Those original orange kicks back in the 80s?
The dunks.
Oh.
Which are so popular today. Can't get them anymore.
So 1 second on the shot clock, 1:18 remaining in regulation. Duke's going to have to catch and shoot. Roach puts it up, beats the horn. Long rebound, goes out of bounds. Beavers basketball. 7 of Young's 8 offensive rebounds have come in the second half alone, Corey.
Yeah, he's been special, and we've talked about Derek Lively, and Lively still trying to get acclimated to the college game, missed time in the preseason. But Ryan Young has been a godsend for the Blue Devils, coming in and being able to play big minutes for them at crunch time.
Under a minute to go. Akano is fouled by Proctor.
That was an explosive move by Akano right there. Proctor had no idea. Only option he had was to foul him.
Third foul on Roach. And so now Akano, who is a very good foul shooter, you see 2 for 3 today, 87% on the year. 15 out of 18. And of course he comes up short on the first of the 1-and-1.
I blame you.
I'll take that. Timeout, Duke. Well, in late game situations, you'd rather have a veteran team, I would think, than a young team. Jeremy Roach is the leader, now the sole captain for Duke. Where do they get their leadership from in these situations?
Well, you're going to start with 3 guys who have been important in this game. You got Jeremy Roach with the basketball in his hand. You're going to make sure that Kyle Filipowski is involved in the action, but also Ryan Young, who has been spectacular. You most likely want to go middle pick and roll with those 2 guys involved, one rolling to the rim, the other popping up as a shooter. But this is the guy right now who has been the one for the Blue Devils. Kyle Filipowski catching the basketball on the interior, finishing through the shot blocking, and then knocking down the big 3 to tie the game. But it hasn't been just about Filipowski. You've also got Ryan Young, who has been great on the offensive glass, 8 offensive rebounds, and more importantly, been able to finish around the rim, giving Duke that post presence that they need to have. Both guys with double-doubles here this afternoon.
And Duke has gotten much more in the early part of the season out of Young than even they could have hoped for, right?
I believe so. And again, you're talking about a grad transfer coming in. You don't know what you're going to get from him, but he has been more than advertised for the Blue Devils this season.
Grandison thought about it, goes up, missed it. Another offensive rebound. This time, it's Filipowski. 19 points, 14 rebounds for the freshman from Westtown, New York. And now timeout on the floor called by Oregon State.
Wayne Tinkle told us yesterday how important it was going to be for his team to take care of their defensive board. We talked about it coming into this game. Grandison, who was hesitant on taking this shot, but gets it on the glass. And that's all you have to do for Kyle Filipowski and Ryan Young. Give them the opportunity to go get the offensive rebound. And Duke's best offense throughout this day has been to just put it on the glass and let their guys go get it and get those second chance points.
I'll tell you what, Corey, if the rest of our week here in Portland is anything like this, we're going to have fun.
I agree. And we've had 2 games in Portland that have been great already. We watched North Carolina taken to the, to the end by Portland over at the Moda Center. And here we've had a great one here today. The Oregon State Beavers have given the Blue Devils everything that they've wanted here tonight.
We are right next door to the Moda Center at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum, the former home of the Portland Trail Blazers, standing next to the current home of the Blazers, 2 of the 3 venues for this extravaganza. It really is a quadruple tournament extravaganza. 24 teams, 16 men's, 8 women's. And as you mentioned, the #1 men's team in the country, North Carolina, barely survived its first game. Duke trying to do the same. The #8 team being pushed by the Beavers. Over at the Moda Center right now, as you can see over on ESPN2, Iowa State leads Villanova 53-44. About 11.5 minutes to go in the second half.
33.6 seconds remaining. You don't have to go for a 3 here. You want to get something going downhill and see if you can get the Blue Devils to actually help. If they'll help to take away the easy 2, then you kick it out for the 3 if you have it.
About 6 seconds difference between the 2 clocks. Shot and game. 20 seconds on the clock. Dexter Akanno gives to Reevney. Picks up his dribble. Foul on Proctor on the perimeter. That is his 3rd personal.
And still more than enough time remaining. And you can put points on the board right here at the free throw line, make it a 1-point game. And now if you're Oregon State, you set up your full court pressure, see if you can get a turnover. If you can't, you foul and make Duke have to make free throws to beat you.
Dexter Akanno, one of the 2 co-captains for Oregon State, makes a pair of big free throws. Back to a 1-point game. With timeout here in Portland, let's go back to Bristol in the studio. Oregon State 51. What's being talked about by Coach Scheyer and Coach Tinkle in those huddles, Corey?
Well, by Coach Scheyer, you're looking at how you're going to break the pressure. You get the basketball into the hands of your best free throw shooters, because you have to make sure you don't turn the basketball over. Coach Tinkle's drawing something to see if they can get a quick turnover. If they can't get it, they're going to foul and send Duke to the free throw line to see if they can make this a 2 or 3-point game. But you've got to be strong with the basketball, handle the basketball, and getting it inbounds first.
As you saw, both teams in the double bonus. Oregon State has the possession arrow, but no timeouts. Duke has 1 timeout remaining. Filipowski runs the baseline. Akanno has him bottled up with Pope.
And in all, I don't think that is exactly where Duke wanted to go with the basketball. When you've got the guys on the floor that you have on there, you've got the veterans. I'm not sure that Proctor was the guy you wanted to have the ball in his hands. And right now, Oregon State wanting a tie possession on that, a jump basketball, as you see coming over, getting the hands on the ball, and then awarding the Blue Devils the timeout. Oregon State wanted that to be a jump ball. And Wayne Tinkle and his staff have a pretty good case for that one, because you see when Proctor was talking to the referees calling the timeout, it was much after Oregon State defenders had their hands on the basketball, so Duke dodges a bullet on that possession.
I agree, but what they did was give up their final timeout.
They did that, but when you think about it, I'm not sure Proctor was the guy they wanted to have the ball in his hands. They would much prefer to see Roach, Filipowski, or even Young in that position, or Grandison as well, because those guys have been there before. You're talking about older players outside of Filipowski, but Filipowski's been to the free throw line throughout this game. He's been able to convert those. Proctor, who started out 4 for 4 from the free throw line early, has gotten those attempts, but I don't think he was the guy they really wanted to get the ball in his hands.
The winner of this game will move on to the semifinals in the Legacy bracket to take on the winner of our next game between Florida and Xavier. Neither side has a timeout remaining, and so now the Blue Devils are tasked with getting the ball inbounds again. Grandison, Young, Proctor, Roach, and Filipowski, the 5 coming out of the Duke huddle.
Now, you tell me this. Basketball rules. Can he run or no?
No.
Oh, it's on the sideline now. Okay, I thought it was underneath. No, definitely can't run on the sideline.
Filipowski still looking. Gets it in. 12 seconds to go, and then the foul is given with exactly 12 remaining.
And now you've got the veteran, Grandison, at the free throw line. Of course, there's no guarantee that the older players go and make the free throws. But if you're Jon Scheyer, you trust guys who have been in this position before. That's part of the reason why Grandison's on the floor.
And by his own words, he is a late bloomer from Oakland, California, out of Berkeley High School. Had his 3rd stop collegiately. And 2 big free throws. Looked pretty good on the first. And now Blakes will come back in. A defensive switch with Proctor going out. And Shoal Marial replaced in a similar switch for the Beavers. Duke has made 12 of its last 14 free throws and lead it by 3. 10 seconds to go. Pope for the tie. No, long rebound. Tap back out. 3 seconds to the runner. It's no good. And the Blue Devils survive.
Oregon State got the looks they won. Jordan Pope gets a good look coming down in transition, and then the offensive rebound allows their leading scorer, Taylor, to get a look at the buzzer. 2 great looks for the Beavers to try to tie it and send it into overtime.
A pair of double-doubles led by that man, Mr. Filipowski. Duke wins it 54-51. Let's send you out to Orlando with Randolph Childress. Here's Mark Neely.